it is San Diego Comic-Con. It is Comicbook.com here, and we are here with the voice actors from My Hero Academia. We have Justin Briner, the voice of Izuku. We have Chris Sabat, the voice of All Might. So welcome to the studio. So first things first, it is San Diego Comic-Con. It is huge. I have seen as many My Hero Academia cosplays here as I have seen for Dragon Ball, as I have seen for Naruto, and I have an All Might tattoo, so that should say something.
That's intense, and that's real?
No, I wish it was real. I might do it.
Is it a placeholder for what's going to be real soon?
Absolutely.
Oh,
I got to
good.
get
Okay.
All Might here and Izuku here.
I say for the rest of this feature, we'd take you down to the shop.
going on location.
Right
I mean, if you're gonna pay for it, I will absolutely do it.
Let's do it right now.
Well, so we'll get back to that, but I just kind of want to ask, how surreal is it for you guys to be here and see this reception to My Hero Academia?
I mean, it's always amazing. And I think, especially since the show started, we've really seen the increase in popularity and people dressing up as the characters. People are engaging in they're reading the comic, they're watching the anime and everything. So people are really all about it. It's excellent.
Yeah, I was surprised at what a huge presence it has already. Yeah. Like it seems like just yesterday kind of launched, even though we are in season 3, but it's just kind of rapidly increasing in popularity. When I go to conventions, a lot of the times, for the last 20 years, I've been going as a, Dragon Ball Z actor, but I've noticed even over the last 6 months that people requesting signatures from All Might is now getting to about 40% of, I'd say like 4 out of every 10. That's what 40% means. Thank you. I decided I'd go ahead and reiterate that just in case for some reason no one understood what 40% meant.
Awesome.
2/5.
Yeah, perfect. We got our math down. So right now, kind of My Hero Academia is just bursting through not even just the manga industry, but the comic book industry as well, with its reception to kind of superhero lore. I mean, we have Jim Lee doing drawings of All Might. We have Rob Liefeld doing drawings of All Might. We're just going to start a campaign to make everyone do drawings of All Might and Izuku.
Yeah.
So how does it feel to know that My Hero Academia is kind of becoming one of the better known, if not the best known, kind of superhero series right now that's up and coming?
I think it's really cool. When I first started getting involved in the project, and I started to read ahead and watch the little bit of the anime that was out at the time, it felt like it was something very special, something that was unique. It had a sort of unique voice and presence to it. And to see it now that it's taken off so much is kind of a testament to that. I'm really excited that everyone has really taken to it in the way that they have.
Awesome.
Yeah, I try and convince as many people that I meet at conventions that haven't heard of My Hero Academia to get into it, because it feels like you're able to get into something on the ground floor of something that's going to be around for a long time, and it's so good. It's amazing to me how good this show is. I don't even take the time to watch too much anime, because if I did, I'd literally be working on anime from 7 o'clock in the morning until, just 24 hours. I'd say 40% of my day would be
Good number.
Yeah.
Okay, so
40 out of 100 minutes.
Perfect.
Whoa.
That's a lot. That's great. I approve. So my kind of question that I have is, what is My Hero Academia doing that guys like Marvel and DC just aren't doing as well? What is it that's differentiating this series from guys like Captain America or guys like Aquaman?
Japanese.
That's pretty solid. Any other thoughts there? I mean,
He summed it up.
I mean, we have DC superheroes like Katana. I mean, we have others that are definitely from Japan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you're right. I was just being snarky.
no, it's fine.
I'm snarky like a certain percentage of the time.
Absolutely. I mean, just are there any thoughts that you have about what is it particularly about this kind of era of raising a hero, as say compared to maybe something like Young Justice, where you have young superheroes or sidekicks that are being raised up, versus something that you have with Izuku and All Might, that mentorship relationship?
I think there's like a real just emotional core to the story that maybe you don't get from a lot of comic books. I'm not an expert on the topic at all, but it seems to be, and especially the adaptations of comic books that are coming into the media now are all about, action, witty one-liners, and spectacle. And My Hero has all that, but it also has characters that you can root for and characters that are still growing, and they make you want to learn more about them. So I think that's, something in its favor.
Okay. And Justin, I actually have a ton of questions about Izuku, but I'll have to narrow them down. So he is just such a different character that you just don't really see in kind of superhero series. I mean, not only is he just so heroic from the beginning and then he kind of gets these powers, but I mean, he's just so in touch with his emotions and just how he's able to express them. So for you as a voice actor, getting into that booth, what is it like trying to tap into that, emotion, that kind of headspace Izuku's going into?
I love it. He always has felt like the portrait of a very, real high school child to me. He's dealing with a lot of the same issues. He he's struggling to find where he belongs in this superhuman society when he doesn't have any of the qualities other than he's a fanboy, which is cool. And I think what is so special about him is he's able to take that, all of his enthusiasm about this, and when he gets the powers, then he's able to take off with it. I think if he had just, been a quirkless boy who didn't care about heroes and then for some reason inherited the power, it wouldn't have been, he wouldn't have been able to reach the heights that he has so far.
Okay, and so kind of with season 3, actually, now that you've talked about that, now he's really stepping into his own. We just got past the point where All Might had his big fight with All for One. He's kind of had to step down from his mantle as being the #1 hero, and Izuku really now feels this pressure of being told that, you're next. So what is that kind of relationship dynamic between Izuku and All Might? How is that changing, and how are you two kind of looking forward to exploring that in the booth?
I think All Might actually explains it pretty well when he's talking to Izuku's mother in one of the later episodes of the 3rd season, when he basically says, I haven't been doing my job training him. I've spent most of my time just being a hero and showing him what that means to be, but I haven't really been fostering him with all the knowledge he needs to succeed himself. So it's very clear that there's a passing of the torch that's happening right now, where he said that he's going to do everything he can to protect Izuku, but he's going to arm him with all the tools he needs to do it himself.
Yeah, it was, that moment was a real turning point, I think, just for the narrative of the show. It's not like All Might had never mentored Izuku before. He's always been there for him in some capacity, often, saving the day when they need him most. But yeah, this is kind of like, we always knew All Might was on a clock of some kind. He couldn't do the heroics forever, and now it struck 12. So that everything about their whole society is going to change in some capacity. But the interpersonal relationship between Izuku and All Might, I think, is also, it's maturing. It's reached the next phase of its growth, which I think is really beautiful.
Okay, so I have to ask, as both a fan and as everyone else, just talking about this on the internet, one of the recent episodes, we saw in the dub of, of Izuku and All Might having that reunion on the beach after the fight, and it was just super emotional, and everyone was just like, oh my gosh, it's Dad Might. Dad Might has come to the rescue. He is here. What is that kind of, how do you two receive, people who are so emotionally invested into the relationship that both Izuku and All Might have? Do you let that influence your performance at all when you're, going into such emotional scenes like that? Can you just kind of walk us through, what it's like really getting into that moment?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. It's not, with this show, it's not, I'll be honest, it's not too hard because everything is there for you. We have the beauty of being able to record with all the music and the sound effects in your ear. And if you're lucky and you're one of the later people to record, you get the rest of the cast in your ear. You literally get to be playing in this world that already exists, and you're just putting the final piece in the puzzle. The only setback is that you feel all the emotions like you do when you're watching it. So I'm not gonna lie, I was emotionally affected by those last couple of All Might episodes in a way where I had to stop recording for a second. Because even when I finally, because I don't really like to read ahead or watch ahead too far, because some of it I really like I kind of like the surprises that happen when you're in the recording sessions, because I think that helps inform better, more natural reads when you're having to face these things at that time, at the same time that the character is facing it. And man, there's just something gorgeous about what happens in those episodes. And as a father myself, I really can relate to All Might, and since Justin, I adopted him earlier this year.
It's almost official. The paperwork's almost it's bureaucratic stuff.
I keep forgetting to fill it out, but it's for the most part done.
Well, fans are going to freak out about that, obviously. kind of talking about big emotional moments. I mean, this is only just kind of starting to be super, explored in the series, but the relationship that we have between Izuku that's growing with Ochako, everyone is on a shipping war that it will just not end. It's just everywhere. So can you kind of talk a little bit, like when you're going to have a scene or, when you're in the studio, coming into that moment, you're going to have an exchange. How have you kind of gone into the booth knowing that people have this kind of like honed in look of, oh my gosh, Izuku and Ochako are talking, what's happening? What's that kind of like for you? And how do you personally feel about the reception of that really intense shipping fandom?
I think they're very cute together. I think they're very precious. But, it's not really my purpose isn't to define what the ships are, like I shouldn't be the one out there being like, this is the true one and that's it. Okay. Yeah. I like hearing people's arguments. I like hearing people's like textual evidence for what they believe and how these characters are interacting. Cause I think that's there's so many students and you can't possibly take all the time to single out every one of them. So I really love the sort of reading between the lines that everybody is able to do with that. Awesome. I think, I like the two of them together because that's just my, I spend the most time playing Izuku where he's sort of crushing on her, I guess. But if you can provide me an argument for anything, I'm down with it. Sky's the limit.
All right, we're going to get all those arguments. We're going to send them your way.
Perfect.
Awesome. And so for the last kind of final question, this has been a debate raging in the comic book offices and also online forever. So we have All Might and we have Izuku. They are teamed up. They are like working together great. They have to fight Superman. Are they going to win? And how are they going to win if they are?
So Izuku went on Wikipedia and he found out Superman has one weakness, and it's kryptonite. And we brought some of that, and Superman didn't know what we were about, so we win.
Okay.
This is the first I'm hearing about this kryptonite thing.
Okay.
It's true, and you heard it here first. That green stone
must be later on in the
It's
series.
kind of a recent development.
Okay.
Recent.
Yeah.
Okay, but what if they had to take Vegeta? Could All Might and Izuku take Vegeta?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I think they're too nice for Vegeta, frankly. And the hardest thing about the against Superman thing, it's so hard to imagine that two like groups of altruistic kind of entities could ever fight one another. What would they do that for?
They would just go find someone else to fight.
All Might would just try and hug him to death.
Right. Oh man. Okay, that's it. That's the fan art. Everyone get that fan art going.
Either that or he'd say, sorry, bro, like the Superman guy's got a lot of potential, so I'm gonna
You get that hair
can
now.
I take that back real quick?
Okay.
Eat his hair.
Word. All right. Well, there you have it. That is the legacy of All Might, Izuku, and Superman for you.
It was good while it lasted.
It was good. It was great while it lasted.